America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. And I note for the record that all board members are present. Good morning.
Good morning.
I move the approval of the minutes from the September 19th, 2025 board meeting.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCafferty. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. And the chair recognizes Mr. Brian Clary. Good morning.
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 Brian Clary, Manager, Ballot Department. Before you should have a copy of the certification report and the official results for the September 9th, 2025 primary election. There were a total of 20,997 ballots cast in this election, and they break down as follows. We had 14,316 ballots cast on Election Day. We had 4,836 ballots cast vote by mail. 1,505 ballots cast early in person here. 137 provisional ballots were cast, no post-election days, and we had 203 post-vote by mails. Moving into the vote by mail and early in person summary, there were a total of 7,317 ballots issued during the vote by mail and early in person voting. Of those ballots, 6,544, or 89.44%, were returned and counted by the ballot department. There were a total of 106 challenged or late vote by mail EIP ballots, resulting in a 1.59 challenge rate for the election. That challenge rate will drop to 0.15% when you exclude the voters that return their ballot late. And below that, you have a breakdown of all the returns and challenges for vote by mail early in person, and I'll pause here if there are any questions about that section. Hearing none, we'll move on to the provisional voting summary. There were a total of 190 provisional ballots cast during the election. Of those ballots, 137, or 72.11%, were valid and tabulated by the ballot department. There were a total of 53 invalid provisional ballots, resulting in a 27.89% rejection rate. That rejection rate drops down to 13.29% when you exclude people who've already cast a vote by mail ballot or who were not registered for the election. And below that, you have a breakdown of all the reasons that they were rejected. And I'll pause again for any questions you might have on the provisional section. Hearing none. Moving on to the ballot remake and adjudication portion. There were a total of 28 ballot sheets processed in accordance with the ballot adjudication and remake policy approved by the board. That results in a remake adjudication rate of 0.133%. If you exclude the UOCAVAs and voted for an eligible contest, that remake rate drops down to 0.09%. And then you have a breakdown of the individual categories there. There were a total of 192 precincts in the election. Voter history is complete and is waiting to be uploaded to the state upon certification. Ballot reconciliation is ongoing. There were no automatic recounts for this election. The requested recount deadline will be Tuesday, September 30th at 4 p.m. Currently, we have tentatively scheduled the post-election audit for the following Wednesday, October 1st at 9:30 a.m. if there are no requested recounts. We are currently going to audit the following races. Issue 2, in Cleveland Heights, the mayoral recall. We're going to do the East Cleveland mayor race and the Garfield Heights mayor race. Those are the three largest races on the ballot as required by the Secretary of State. And that's it.
Thank you, Mr. Clary, for that fine report. Board members, any questions of Mr. Clary? Okay, thank you, Mr. Clary. Having received this information, I move the certification of the official results of the September 9th, 2025 primary election, including items A through E inclusive on our agenda.
Second.
Second by Mr. McCafferty. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. Thank you, Mr. Clary. All right, and I move to acknowledge the October 1st, 2025 post-election audit for the September 9th, 2025 primary election at 9:30 a.m. at the Board of Elections Tabulation Center, 3951 Perkins Avenue, Cleveland, Ohio, 44114. Second by Mr. McCafferty. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. And I move to acknowledge the ballot proofs for the November 4th, 2025 general election in accordance with the ballot proof policy approved by the board on March the 12th, 2021. Second by Mr. McCafferty. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. And thank you, Mr. Clary and Ballot Department. Okay. On to item 5. Candidate and Petition Services, I move to acknowledge the following candidate withdrawals from the November 4th, 2025 general election. The first, Andrew Fontana Rosa, Cleveland City Council, Member of Council Ward 11, and Jose Leon, North Olmsted City Council, Member of Council Ward 4. Second by Mr. McCafferty. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. And we have before us a motion for the January 6, 2026 special Oakwood Village mayoral election. It's in accordance with ordinance number 2025-62 that sets a special election for the mayor. That office was vacated, unfortunately, due to the previous mayor's passing. For the record, the candidate filing deadline for the January 6, 2026 Oakwood Village mayoral election is November 7th, 2025, 60 days prior to the election. Cuyahoga will open on November 21st, 2025. The signature minimum is 75 valid registered electors from Oakwood Village. The filing fee is $30. Voter registration closes on Monday, December 8th, 2025, and early in-person and absentee voting begins Tuesday, December 9th, 2025. So having entered that into the record, I move to conduct the January 6, 2026 special Oakwood Village mayoral election.
Second.
Second by Ms. Stewart. Any unreadiness? Hearing none, all in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it. It is so ordered. And on to new business, the chair recognizes Mr. Prelati, our director.
Good morning. I'm actually going to punt most of this to Deputy Director Gallagher because just getting back in from a election conference, which was really good. So he'll give you kind of like how we're going to close out September, transition from September into November, whereas we have been, as it is one of the trickiest things we do, and then just a little update from on November.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. For the September election, as the director said, you know, we are back-to-back elections are always challenging for our agency, but the poll worker file, payroll file went to county fiscal last Friday. We expect to get the check sometime either today or tomorrow. So they'll be going out in the mail, so poll workers could expect to start getting their checks sometime towards the end of next week. We did have a brief lessons learned with our managers in between after the September election. A couple of things that we'll be testing and implementing for the November election are one is the Board of Elections is always a drop-off location on election night. Bipartisan teams from the polling locations come to certain drop-off locations, riding in a vehicle together with ballots and other election supplies to return them on election night. We, over at 2925, that was a location that received supplies. Now that we're in our new location here, we're able to utilize the parking garage, and we saw how effectively it worked because it is a wide open space. It has plenty of light, and we are actually going to almost double the number of locations that will be able to drop it off. So it'll be a much more efficient process. Also with it, we see the opportunity to utilize better technology. So rather than having somebody receive the materials with a clipboard marking off what was received, we're actually going to experiment with utilizing a scanner to scan barcodes to record the materials as they're received. So we see that as a much more efficient, accurate way of receiving the materials back. Another lessons learned that we're going to continue to work on is we have our issue tracker. Chairman, you'll remember back in the day when we had multiple colored sheets of paper and issues would be recorded based on the hierarchy of the color, would reflect that. And then we did have Helen, who created a program which was very effective. And now we use a third party that probably copied much of her technology. I don't know, whatever. I mean, much of the way of what she done is replicated in the new programs. It's a a good issue tracker. With it, we also have some enhancements and some things that we can better record and distribute the issues to the different departments for reconciliation. And then finally, you know, some things take a lot of planning, some things depend on technology, some are just simple fixes. One of the challenges we have is reminding poll workers to insert the paper roll before they plug in the machine. So that can lead to issues on Monday night and Tuesday morning. So what we're going to do is include a little tag on the end of the power cord that will physically remind them that, and the message on there will say, make sure you install the paper roll before you plug this plug in. So again, we're always looking to improve elections. With regard to the November 4th election, voting for military and overseas voters has already began. We sent out the ballots last Friday. Absentee department sent out 116 ballots at that time. Absentee department is also processing regular vote-by-mail applications for voters. At this point, they've processed 3,725 applications. Just as a reminder, none of those ballots will start to be mailed out on October 7th. So voters can expect, those who've submitted their, successfully submitted their applications can expect to receive those ballots after that date. Also, this Friday, we have a voter guide that will go out to all households with registered voters. The voter guide includes vote-by-mail deadlines, early in-person voting hours, ID requirements if you go to the polls or vote here during early in-person voting. So again, it's a good reminder for voters and provides valuable information. The poll worker department has already placed 66% of the workers that'll be needed for November. Training classes began this last weekend. We have two east side locations, two west side locations, and as well as, was it Wednesday night? I think we started or Tuesday night, they started utilizing this building for poll worker training, which we're excited about, and we look forward to when the Arrowhead portion will also be opened up, that we can utilize that for training as well. Ballot department completed their proofing of the November ballot. They were, I think, scheduled to receive the test deck yesterday. Once they receive that test deck, they're going to run it through all the high-speed vote-by-mail scanners, the early in-person scanners that will be used in the early in-person room, as well as the ballots that will be scanned through the election day scanners. All of this is vigorously done to make sure that every oval position on the ballot accurately records the vote for that particular voter, and various scenarios are run through so we have confidence that as a voter fills out that oval, that vote will be recorded accordingly. And then next week they'll begin actually testing each ballot scanner that will be dispatched at each polling location. Those machines are tested before to verify that, again, they're accurately tabulating all those votes. And finally, the registration department will start applying voter history after this meeting. And then on October 1st, they're actually going to be performing some cleanups that the Secretary of State has implemented in files that he's given to boards of elections. We have voters were mailed back in 2021, either a supplemental, which means they didn't have any activity for 2 years up to that point, or NCOA indicating that they moved out of Cuyahoga County. Those voters were sent letters verifying that they either did in fact move or haven't had activity. That was 4 years ago, so for the ones who didn't have activity, that's a total of 6 years now. If they haven't had activity, plus we did send them a last chance letter just to, again, verify that they have moved. If they didn't respond, we do have 29,000 records that will be cleaned from the database. Again, if anyone was canceled in error, they are always able to re-register. Also, there's a deceased file. We received a file from the Secretary of State's office that matches up with the Social Security Administration. We have 868 voters who will be canceled in that process as well. Also, voters who move to another state. So the Secretary of State, in working in conjunction with other Secretary of States in other states, anyone who is registered in another state, may or may not have voted but are registered in that other state, would be canceled here in Ohio. So we had 74 voters who fell into that category. And then 2 persons who were identified through the BMV as non-citizens, they too will be canceled as well. Just to indicate neither of the 2 voted. So if you have any questions or if the director has anything he wants to add.
Thank you, sir. Board members, any questions for Deputy Director Gallagher? Okay, Director Pilati, anything that he said? I know you're just getting back, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've looked and noticed we've had quite a bit of rain and wonder if that is affecting our conditioned space in the garage.
So before the rain happened, the county with the landlord and the garage contractor did apply some patches and things to the parking garage in an effort to get it to be watertight. And good try. Improved it, but did not completely eliminate what was going on. So this week, staff did inform me that still did see a little bit of water, some drops and things coming into the conditioned space, which again should be watertight. But we did move all the equipment to the north end of the building, still have our tents up and everything, so it hasn't negatively impacted anything in that regard. The county is aware of it, landlord is aware of it. They are now trying to figure out what their next steps are jointly, and I think mostly the landlord with the contractors to continue to investigate and apply a different patches or whatever it may be to get it correct. So for November, we'll be fine. We'll be good. We will keep everything safe and dry. We did have our first meeting with the county. We'll be meeting with the county again in about 2 weeks to further discuss the permanent solution of relocation into this building. And between now and that meeting with county leadership, we'll be having a meeting with Public Works, who's currently laying out some different options based on square footage that we've provided for operational needs that we need in order to efficiently conduct what we need to do. So everyone is working towards good, solid temporary solutions, which are kind of there, and then what is the long term. And we're just all coming together to collaborate and make it work. But most importantly for voters, we'll be fine. Their ballots will be fine. They'll be good, and we can ensure that.
Good. Thank you for that update, and thank you for your diligence in that matter. Okay. Board members, any other business before us? All right. The chair has received no request for public comment, and the chair has received no request for executive session. So with the September 9th, 2025 election certified, I move that this meeting be adjourned. Second by Mr. McCafferty. All in favor, aye. Aye. The ayes have it.